Good evening. Good evening, America. How y'all doing out there?
Hello.
All right, Mary, you can hear me good?
Yes, Mr. Hall, I can hear you.
How
I'm
about
the
you,
same married
Yolanda?
woman that you've seen several times over on the east side. I'm the
Yolanda,
same young
I
you
want to have
you've
a
spoke to several
conversation with
times
somebody
before.
else.
No, I'm still married.
Okay. That somebody must be hitting on her or something. Yolanda. Yeah, okay. Hello, everybody. We're glad that y'all can tune in to another edition of Incarceration to Incorporation, as we like to call it here, ink to ink. Incarceration to Incorporation. We thank y'all for tuning in. We want you to share, 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 share. I'm Julius Hall. I'm one part of the three hosts that we have here with Julius Campbell down below there and AB. AB is still out. He's the founder of Incarceration to Incorporation. It's just on my platform, but he's the founder. And this is a show where we give out information and advise on resources and try to help those returning citizens to uh, get back into society in a smooth transition. Brother Julius is our resident expert now, and he's been a godsend. And he this is our week. This is our month for women. So I guess we got about one more show. No, we got two more shows where we got women. Nothing but women. Two more shows of women. The 23rd and the 30th, I guess. And this is July, our month of women. And today we had 3 or 4 women that's directly impacted by the criminal justice system that we'll be speaking to. And AB will be back I think he'll be back next week. He said he was going to be out 2 or 3 weeks handling some business and straightening up some stuff because he's opening another business. So that's incarceration to incorporation. He's a role model for everything that we're trying to show on this platform. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to my co-host, Mr. Julius Campbell.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. I'm happy to be back again, Incarceration to Incorporation. As always, thanking Julius Hall and AB for their visionary insight. I just want to give you guys props again for this platform that changes the narrative. We have, as you stated, we got Marie Jones, we have our daughter Shabri. How does incarceration affects women, but also family members? And we're going to give these 2 ladies an opportunity to share their stories. I want you ladies to feel comfortable. I want you to feel at ease because there are other women that are going to learn from your story, that will be encouraged by your story, that will be motivated by your story. So as we transition, let me set the stage. What we do as often as we can is provide a platform, changing the narrative. Why do we need to change the narrative? Well, because the recidivism is high. Recidivism is the tendency of a convicted criminal to reoffend. And because it's high, the narrative is once you've been incarcerated, then you're destined to go back. Well, what we have been doing these last couple of months is changing that narrative by the platform that we have provided. We have men and women coming out telling their stories of success, whether it's a organization or whether it's a corporation, whether it's education, or simply success at staying home and doing wonderful and raising your family. And so that's the main idea of this program right now, is to let the world know that we may have started off wrong, but we can all finish strong. So here, we're going to allow these ladies to introduce themselves and just tell us briefly who you are and what is your relationship to incarceration. We'll start with you first, Marie.
My name is Marie Jones, and my affiliation with incarceration is I was incarcerated 17 years ago. Can I tell the reason why, Miko?
You don't have to tell the reason why. You just
Okay.
tell us. Yeah, you just tell us basically.
Oh, it was 17 years ago I was incarcerated. I did 18 months in prison. I wasn't supposed to go to the penal system. I was supposed to go to boot camp. But you know, Miko, like they let me get out of jail and stay out until a bed came available for me to go to boot camp. So when they called me in for me to turn myself in, when I went to the sheriff complex, they didn't have no paperwork for me to stay. So the sheriff told me that I couldn't stay there. He said, so I had to leave. So when I left, I called my probation officer the following week, that Monday, and she wasn't in the office. She was out on vacation, right? So when they finally caught up to me, the judge said, okay, he understand that I called my probation officer Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. He said, but what happens to Thursday and Friday? So I was only supposed to do a year in boot camp, but he gave me 18 months in the penal system.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And as a result of that, we will give you an opportunity to elaborate a little more. But we see here we have Shabri, your daughter, next to you. Shabri,
Yes.
tell us who you are and a little bit about your connection to incarceration from your mother's perspective, but also from your future's perspective.
My name is Shabri. I'm a junior at Savannah State University, studying criminal justice. My obvious relationship to incarceration is my mom, and through that process, it put of course I had my grandma at the time, but it put us in the court system. Whereas I would connect with other juveniles and see what was wrong in the juvenile system, and so that kind of directed my path towards me being a criminal justice major and also wanting to work with the juveniles as I progress or whatever and with my studies. So that's basically the major roles of what impacted my studies. And so yeah.
Great, great. So Marie, now I want you to go, and Julius, you come in anytime with any questions, but because I'm going to bounce off mother and daughter, and the reason why I'm going to do that because there are countless other mother and daughter teams out there that have been affected, but also that have positively and progressively prevailed, as it were, to your future. So Marie, tell us a little bit about your transition when you came home. Was it difficult or was it smooth? And then tell us why. And then tell us how did it affect your relationship with your children when you came home?
My transition when I got home was not smooth. I went to look for jobs, and because of my charge, I remember I told you I went to the hospital to get a job, and it was to work in the dietary department. And she said, because I had forgery charge, that shows distrust. She said, but if I had a drug charge, she would have hired me. And I said, well, a drug charge is not distrust. But anyway, she didn't give me the job. And you know, when you are a mother, Julius, that's why I tell you that's why people take and do reoffend, and recidivism is so high, because when you are a mother, and not just being a mother, just taking care of your own personal self, when you are a human being and you take and you come home, you done did your time, whatever, and they still hold you because they don't want to give you a chance. So it was not smooth for me, and it was really it wasn't even smooth when it came to like my children. But anyway, like I started working at Popeyes. I never worked at a fast food restaurant, but I was just so excited to just have a job, you know. And so yeah, I took it. It was not smooth. It wasn't.
And how did
So
it affect your relationship with your children when you came
well, you
home?
know, how to, because Shabri and Kira, my other two daughters, they was with their grandmother, and she didn't want to give them back. It was not smooth. We had to go through the court systems for me, and it didn't happen right off the bat. We had to go to court. Y'all was with y'all grandma for like how many more years after I got out?
Like 5.
Maybe 5 more years fighting with her to get my children back. Okay, so it was not a smooth transition at all. It was really hard. And I think it was more difficult for Shakira and Shabriz because they were with their grandmother and the other kids were here with me, was here with me. And I think that put on a little resentment for them towards me.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
So what about since you've been home during the course of those 17 years, I believe, have you seen this affect incarceration on other women? And if so, how have you been dealing with that? How have you reached out to them or helped them to transition?
Well, you know, Miko, you know, like Jeanette, me and Jeanette, we did time together. And so Jeanette, when she came home, I always, you know, me, her, and Cece, we keep in contact with each other. And I told her, I just, you know, speak positive to them. It's not easy. It's not, especially when somebody's telling you, no, you got rent to pay and kids to take care of. But, you know, we just encourage each other, you know, just keep on pushing. That's all you can really do. And they don't want you to do wrong, but it seems like it's hard to do right when you got bills to pay. Right. You understand? Okay, so yeah, I done heard probation people say, well, don't say that you was incarcerated. Don't check that you was incarcerated when I was on probation. Because once you tell them that you're on probation, they be like, well, what you was in jail for? So a lot of times I didn't check that I was incarcerated so that I can get a job so I can provide for my children.
Okay.
You know?
Do a thorough background check After 7 years, it doesn't show up. They do a light one, and if it's after 7 years, it usually don't show up, and you don't. Then that's why the probation officer tells you don't tell them.
No, Mr. Hall, this is when I first got out.
Right,
Okay.
right, right.
Yes, sir. When I first got out, it was showing, and even like some jobs do it extensive because I like taking care of the elderly, right? So some jobs do extensive background check. One job did when I went to go work for SCAD, they wouldn't allow me to work because they went back to all the way 18 years. And I was working there, and once the criminal background came back, they told me I couldn't work there no more.
Wow.
So,
And what we're doing is we are making sure people hear these stories, not to put people down or to cast blame, but to make people aware also that people would know that, look, you can make it. If you made it, Marie, and others like you, that
right.
you can make it. But Shabri, now you share with us. Now you have learned, you have a life experience of incarceration and its effect, and now you're in school. But tell me this, does that push you to make a difference, number one, but number two, the people that are in your class, other young men and women, are they there for the same reason that you are, or are they simply there for a career?
It's hard to say. I can only really speak for myself because we all have different backgrounds, different walks of life. So I just can only say where I come from and what inspired me to pick my major and even go to school at all. So what was the other question though?
What are some of the things that you do in class, whether it's you or the professor?
Well, I haven't been in a classroom setting, even on a Zoom, pertaining to my criminal justice classes in over a year now due to COVID. So everything now is just reading straight from out the books and basically being self-taught right now.
Yeah.
But at 2018, early 2019, we'll just have, I know one of my favorite professors, we'll just speak and he'll use real life, situations. And we'll just have an open class discussion and debate basically and just go over stuff, go over these, our basic human rights that most people not even aware of. And so that's pretty much what we do.
So what do you want to be when you graduate?
I literally just made a career change. The focus was probation officer for the juvenile, but now I'm switching it to teaching. So, yeah.
Teaching school?
Yes, a school teacher.
So
yes,
you're in early childhood classes?
No, sir. I still take criminal justice.
Okay, but if you're gonna teach, you're gonna need to take some.
I have to take the GACE. Yeah, it's a whole different line. I have to take the GACE.
Okay.
Yeah.
Julius, her professor. Tell us a little bit about your professor.
Which one? Torre.
The one that you know, Torre.
I love him.
Julius, he leads one of your shows, right?
He's on several shows. He got his own show. He's on this network every Wednesday at 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Run Tell That.
Run Tell That. Okay. Well, now let me ask you this, Shabri, before I go back to your mom. We've been learning a lot about statistics. You said about being made aware. Some of the textbooks that you were reading, I don't know how fresh they are in your mind right now. But while you were there, either on Zoom or from the textbook reading, did they give you or do they share with y'all the statistics of incarceration and the effect of incarceration on the lives of others, and also that America has more people incarcerated than any other country on earth, and also that there are uh, thousands that are funneled or cycle through the county jail yearly. Do you know anything about those statistics?
Yes, I'm aware of them. We had to write a paper about it. Actually, it was Torre that taught that class. But we learned that our second semester into our criminal justice degree, because that's how our standards are set. Like we got to go by class, and then it go like dive into one another basically.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as those statistics go with recidivism, that's what you said, right? With recidivism, I know, I just know that America has the #1 high rate or whatever. But right now, what was the other question?
The other question was, are they making y'all aware of these things? And because a lot of people in the community don't know this.
Yeah, they don't make it aware from. No, I'm not gonna lie. No, they don't.
And that's part of the problem.
No.
That, sometimes we don't know what all the laws are, but they expect you to know everything. And you don't know certain stats, you don't know certain rules, laws, and policies, and they expect you to know every one of them. Like, hell, then everybody ought to go to law school, But sometimes you just don't know those little things that might be on the book, and they tell you that ignorance is no excuse for the law. Well, it is really. If you can prove that you did not know factually, that you did not know about a certain thing, then no jury should convict you. But that's good that you are wanted to get into the criminal justice field, because there's a whole lot there. Because it's like a service industry, just like being a nurse. It's something that isn't going away. It's going to always be a job in that field.
Right. So, Mr. Hall, you know what? I never forget when the detective was questioned, when we taught me in the detective talk, and she was telling me, she said, Marie, you know what? She said, we officers, we lie too. She said, because we use trickery. We use trickery for people to tell on themselves. So I feel I feel like the criminal justice system in itself is not right, because the people that's supposed to be protecting and serving us or whatever, there is a lot of issues with them, and so it's crazy to me.
We got an officer, we got a correction officer right here in North Carolina, Mr. Keith Richardson, and he says, were there any caseworkers to help you transition from being incarcerated back to a returning citizen?
No, Keith, there was no one. It was a lady. She asked the question. I didn't have a caseworker, or I didn't have. Matter of fact, I'm not going to call Miss Barbara. I did not have an advocate either. I did not have a caseworker or advocate. When I came home from prison, she's not a probation officer anymore, so I'm gonna call her. Can I call her name?
If you want.
Her name is Miss Susie. And Miss Susie told me, she said, when I came to see her, when I got her, she said, Maria, I'm so sorry. She said, I'm not going to be a probation officer any longer. She said, but they railroaded you. And she said, I'm so sorry that they did that. And so it was an experience. Prison was an experience. It really was. I don't want to go back there, but it really was an experience. I learned a lot there. You meet it's a lot of intelligent people in prison.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot of intelligent people in prison. And so I met Minister Green there, whose son Travis Green is the gospel singer, and I was in the choir while I was in prison, because I'm gonna tell you something, Mr. Hall. You need God. It's not that you don't need him now. You need God in that place. Like I needed him to keep my mind and to keep me, and to being away from my children for 18 months is something.
So what are you doing now, Marie, to help either make people aware? Same question going to you next, Shabri. What are you doing right now, Marie, to help make the community more aware, to help to bring encouragement to those women, and men that are returning citizens now also. What are you doing now?
Well, what I'm doing now is I've joined with Julius Campbell with OAA, Offenders Alumni Association, and I really like being there in the meetings with I call him Miko. With Miko, it's really it's we learn a lot. We learn a lot, as such as like giving people resources and hope. You understand? Because when you feel like you don't have nobody, that's a bad thing. And when you come home from prison, you done did your time, and then society, as I said before, want to still hold you for what you've been in prison for. That's not good. So we
Yeah.
take it, we encourage, we educate, and we empower. You understand? So educate, teaching people about the resources, you know, and I love Miko. He is such a good man. He really is. And as far as like teaching the people, and I love Miko.
Yeah, and then one great thing about him, we all love this guy because he does it from his heart.
Yes,
He
he
isn't
do.
looking for nothing from it.
No.
Yeah, he genuinely wants to help people succeed, and that's what's so
Yes.
good about him. That's why God is going to bless him, and God has been blessing him.
It's a
Um,
difference. It's a
yeah,
difference, Mr. Hall, when you do it from your heart or when you're trying to do it for monetary gain. It's
yeah,
a big difference.
yeah.
And that's why he's so blessed.
This world is so full of deceitful, greedy, conniving people, and
Yes.
they'll do anything to see you not succeed. It is not only aligned on racial lines sometimes, it's
Mm-hmm.
aligned on political lines sometimes, it's
Right.
aligned on class lines sometimes.
That's
So,
right.
we have to be careful of everything we do. And, just like with me, I'm running for mayor out here. I know they're trying to find something. I know they're trying to destroy me. I
Yeah.
know this. There's no question about it. But
Right.
what's for me is for me. If there's
Right.
whatever even if they're able to do something to me, whatever God has for me is for me. They can't stop that. You
That's
know,
right.
so it's a life lesson. One thing about it, I'm not scared. Whatever happens in this race,
That's
happens.
right.
So all I can do is look forward. You know,
Let me
I'm not
read.
gonna look behind me.
Let me read what Miss Barbara often says, and then I want Shabri to answer the question that I have. Miss Barbara said, "Is anyone currently going into the county jail to support and prepare women to transition?" I'll answer that first. Because of COVID, that has been shut down. Now, I did know that there were small ministries, volunteer ministries that were going into the jails to speak or share with women. I also know another entity called Chatham Transition Center. Her name is Lori Irish. She has a reentry program where she helps men and women, especially those who were fraught with substance abuse issues as they come out. But as far as going into the county jail, I don't believe that that is happening at this point because the COVID issue. But I am hearing that jails and prisons are getting ready to open their doors. So this may be a pivotal time to try to reach out for that. And for you, Shabri, I asked your mom. Now I'm going to ask you, what are you doing now? Because you went through this experience
Mm-hmm.
with your mom. What are you doing now, or what can you do now that would, number one, bring awareness to what's going on, and then number two, try to help to change things?
Well, what I have done to bring awareness to what is going on, I have supported OAA, been there, show my face, post about it,
Correct.
But what we are going to do, I'm still looking forward to a phone call from Julius Campbell about joining forces and gaining awareness on Savannah State campus. So anytime he give me a phone call, we can set something up.
Did you hear that? I like that. Flip that script.
Well,
Hey,
how many people? I guess I'm supposed to be speaking next Wednesday. I guess at OAA. How many people do y'all currently have in the sessions?
well,
Around.
they fluctuate from week to week. Sometimes we have upwards of 15 to 25. It depends on what we do. And speaking of that, the next one, which will be on the 28th, we are now partnering up to make awareness with young people from the ages of 15 to 18. They are off the chain. I mean, the gangs and the gun violence has escalated. So we are using the next forum, if you will, to speak to the young people. So that's basically what we're going to do for the 28th. And when we do get you to come and speak specifically, then we will make that forum known specifically that you will be there, that you will be speaking on behalf of returning citizens. But what we are doing now is the 28th, 8011 Waters Avenue, Wednesday. That'll be 6 to 7. We are going to try to do all we can to reduce this gang and gun violence. And
Okay, well, we can do the show from there that day then.
Okay.
We'll make that the show.
Okay.
That's good, Mr. Hall. That's good,
We'll
Mr. Hall. You know what? Mr. Hall, I think that is so good. Isaac Felton, Miko is me and Miko and I is collaborating with him. He said when schools start back, well, we go into the schools and talk to young men and women. Mr. Hall, it is so sad. You have to reach children when they are young and not when they are 16. Because at that point, Mr. Hall, they don't care. And it's, guess what? And I tell Miko, no, I'm very passionate about the youth. I am very, very passionate about them because and guess what? Mothers are crying. They go to prison, a death. The mother still is crying. So guess what? This is a war cry for me. And we need to get out and we need to take and try to save as many of our babies as we can. Because I'm a mother. Go ahead, Ms. Hall.
Yeah, because when I want to make sure that we give the message to everybody who's there to make sure that they are that they all watching this show. They're all sharing the platform that we have here because it directly links with what you all are doing there. And we're one arm of what Julius is doing, and we can be a help to somebody. I don't care if it's just one person, as long as we're able to reach somebody extra, because all of us working together is a better team than just one person.
That's right.
And so Julius, we got to be able to make sure that everybody who takes the time to be at that meeting also takes the time to be with us every Friday at 6 p.m. Because the word needs to get out.
Correct.
I see Yolanda is trying to get back in. We'll put her in as soon as her picture pops up.
All right. While we're doing that, I want Marie and Shabri to be thinking about this question as we get ready to transition. What can we do between now and the 28th? What can we do to reduce and also to hinder gang and gun violence, at the same time get that message out about returning citizens? Because Marie, you said it. Once you get a number, once you get back into the prison system, you're not coming back. Or there'll be a lot of results like housing, unemployment, healthcare. Just today, I was talking to Social Security, and because I have not worked and I was incarcerated for those 26 years, because I did not work for 26 years, then I am not eligible for the assistance of the government. That's one of many casualties or results of incarceration. Of course, that was my own fault, but it affects my family now moving forward in the future. So I want you to think of something that we can do. Shabri, if it's you, when you talk to your young constituents or peers and just say, listen, this is something that we try to do. Would you come out and would you, what ideas they may have? Because of you being young, you may have better ideas, more effective ideas than I have. And as Marie and I often say, we are teachable and we have a platform to try to change things. So Marie, while we're waiting on Yolanda, what would you share with that woman that just got out of prison, that's just returned to her children? What word of encouragement do you have for her?
Oh man. Miko, I always talk to you about a lot of things, and like people come to me for a lot of things. Like, Marie, can you help my rent get paid? And I always send them to Mr. Tober, the EOA, Wesley Community Center. I'll give them different avenues that who can help. You understand? And I thank God that God has put people in my life that would help. You understand? And so I would tell her, don't give up. I know it may seem hard, but don't give up. You know, it's sickening, Miko, when you try to do right and people try to trip you up. You know, it is. That's a bad thing when you try to do right and people, you know what they rather do? They rather bring up your past and say what you used to be than to help you. But I would tell her to keep pushing and don't never give up.
That's right. Once paid, the debt is no longer a debt, and all you got to
Yes,
do is keep looking forward because
yes,
know who they used to be 30 years ago,
that's
26
right.
years ago, 21
That's
years ago.
that's right.
Nobody's that same person,
That's
especially
right.
if you went down that road and in those 30 years or those 26 years or those 20 years that you've not done anything to get off of that road to being straight on that straight
Yes,
path. And they want to judge you by some mistake that they didn't get caught with. Oh,
that's it. That's it,
you
Mr.
know,
Hall.
and so you can't listen to the naysayers. You just gotta live your life and keep moving forward and make it happen on by what God has for you. Because what He has for you ain't nobody can take from you. The devil gonna get in the way a lot of times. The
That's
devil gonna
right.
give you a few setbacks, but your
That's right.
comeback is gonna be awesome. So
Yes,
that's the inspiration that we want to give people when they tune into this show. We want them to understand that we're here to give them whatever type of help that we can, whether
that's
it's
right.
information, whether it's resources, help getting a job, just to tell your story. Sometimes people are going through it and you don't know what a person going through. And just that listening ear, some people just need it. When you sit back and you understand that they have you away for so long that you never think that you're ever coming home again, your life changes. Your
Yeah,
whole mindset changes. Your whole aspect of everything changes. So yeah. And Julius, I need you to get with Keith Richardson. Have you talked to Keith yet?
I have, and I saw what he just wrote. Mayor Hall, if you need me to do my PowerPoint presentation, just let me know. I actually saw the PowerPoint presentation, and it is good. It
Yeah.
really is. And we want to try to utilize them. And I need you and I to speak so that we can provide a venue, not just for Keith, but we're listening. Even those of you that are listening right now here in Savannah, if there is something that's tugging at your heart, a skill set, a talent, something that you can do that will plant a seed in the life of a young person that will be influential in their lives, please get in touch with myself or Marie at OAA 8011 Waters Avenue or Julius Hall as well on all things relevant. You can see us and get us on Facebook. So yes, we really need to come together in Savannah. Shabri, let me ask you a question. How old are you?
I'm 21.
Okay, what would you say to that young person, 18 to 25? What would you say to that person whose mother is just coming back into their life, or whose father is just coming back into their lives? And how would you encourage them as you and your mother's relationship has grown?
I tell them just to be open minded, and give them time too to adjust, because I know once mom left, I was young.
Yeah.
And I came back, I was a whole teenager. So when I came back home with mama, not when she came back home, but when I came back home to live with my mama, I was a whole teenager. So it's just like it was a whole gap. Like, where did little Shabri go in mama mind probably? So it's like, it just give them time to adjust, talk to each other, just open your mind up. I feel like I would just tell them, just talk it out. Tell them what's on your mind. Just let it out. It's okay. This is still mama. Cry in front of mama. Hug mama. Just talk to mama. So
I
yeah.
like that. That's awesome. That's awesome. And y'all too, I'm going to do right, Shabri. Got my word. One thing that we're also doing tomorrow, Julius, I didn't tell you because I know your schedule is so hectic, but tomorrow, a friend of mine from the Pardons and Paroles, he's doing a TED Talk. He's actually debuting his TED Talk, and the title of it is Changing the Mindset of Criminal Justice by Shifting Your Mind. And we are actually debuting that on Zoom tomorrow from 10 to 12. And one of the reasons why I'm giving that promo, if you will, is because I stated a couple of weeks ago, 3 C's: community, correction, and returning citizen has to come together in order for us to change and reduce recidivism and mindsets. And here we have a person who is in corrections with the same idea that what we've done in the past no longer works. We are changing our mindset. His is a 5 mindset shift. And so anyone who would like to be a part of that conversation tomorrow, please reach out to me and I will give you that link. We'll be listening to that TED Talk tomorrow morning from 10 to 12. But again, as Marie and I stated, we are opening our arms to organizations, grassroots 501c3s who are trying to change the narrative of incarceration but make a difference as it relates to young people. So, Julius, you don't tell us too often about your past. We know that you were once incarcerated, but let me ask you this. What made you push for the mayoral candidate?
Just seeing that this city needed a change and that it was still stuck in the 50s and that there was no vision for this city to move forward and to have the things that every other city has. Why do we have to go to Pooler and Bloomingdale and Rankin for everything or Savannah or Tybee, when everything that we could have could be right here? And nobody with that type of vision was trying to move the city forward to have those things for the city, for the citizens of Port Wentworth. So I saw a need, and I said, hey, well, why don't I do it? Sure, they don't want change here. Sure, there'll be a whole lot of bumps in the road in the next 90 days that they'll be trying to trip me up and they'll be trying to do some things. I already know that God has already put this in my vision. But I can't let that slow me down or hinder me. I will not be moved. Whatever God has for me is for me. If it's not to be in this mayor's seat, it's not to be in this mayor's seat. It's not going to break me one way or the other. It's not going to make me one way or the other. I'm doing what I'm told. I'm being obedient. And that's the only way that I can go. But as far as this position, I want to see this city better. I want to see this city be a friendlier city. The 1950s is gone, and we need to move into uh, into the 2020s. So I think I'm the person for that. I believe that the 15-point platform that I have is what is needed for the city to thrive and to bloom. Those are the reasons that I got it. It wasn't for anybody. And believe this, a lot of people probably think, well, he's going to be the mayor. It's not about money. This mayor job pays less than $8,000 a year.
Wow.
So it's no money, period.
Right.
It's about being committed to do a job to get things done for the citizens of this city. And you would think that why are they fighting a person so hard and getting in his way to try to move the city forward, knowing that it's in a backwards gear now, and we want to put it in a forward gear so it can progress instead of regress. You would wonder if the job only pays that, why are they fighting him so hard? It's because they're in positions to do things for big people who probably do things for them. And I don't want to accuse anybody of taking anything or doing anything like that, but think about it. This city is not moving. This city is the second fastest growing city in the state of Georgia, and it's not moving. The diversity is not coming here. The businesses are not coming here. The people want to buy things or the tourists. There is nothing to tour here. But we're going to change all that when I'm elected.
And I asked you that question as I segue into our closing with Marie and Shabri. I asked you that because as a returning citizen, you progressively prepared to be where you are right now. Whether mayor was in your mind 30 years ago or not, you progressively prepared while you were enduring what you did to become the man that you are now. And myself included, 26 years incarcerated. What I did, I progressively prepared to do what I'm doing right now. And that is be a connector of dots, one who will draw hands together, if you will, so that we can change the narrative of people's lives. And so, Marie, also, my question to you as we get ready to close, to both of you, did you think that when you were incarcerated for those 17 months, 18 months, did you think that today you will be using that story to encourage women? Because I know often when we are in the midst of our difficulties, we can't see the future. But now, do you look back to see that at that point, God was using that time in your life to be a platform for encouraging people? Yes?
You know what? I didn't think about it at that time. But as you spoke about it just a few minutes ago, that's how God is. He would take our mess and make it a message. And so for that, I thank God that He chose me to make it a message for somebody else. Oh, Miko, I'm growing.
Very good. Shabri.
Yes. Basically, once I was going through what we was going through, it motivated me to actually give me the thought, yeah, I'm gonna work with juveniles in the criminal justice system. And so just banking off of what Mama said, I just thank God that it's me, So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I could.
And Miko, one more thing that you said that about the juvenile, why do children do it? You know what I feel like? These kids are bored, Miko, and they have nothing to do. Mama have to work, and mama's working 2 jobs at a time, and they have to be home by themselves, and they're bored.
And
it's
it's
just
almost
nothing to do.
it's
Go ahead, Miss
almost by
Paul.
design, that that there's nothing for them to do. And if you look around and you hear some of the older women here saying that we need resources so that we can put things in place so these kids can have something to do and be occupied besides joining a gang. Because if you
That's
don't
right.
get them in the recreation, they're going to be in a gang. They're going to be doing something mischievous. They say what it is, idle minds make soft behind.
Out of the devil playground.
Yeah, of the devil's playground, and um, that's what it's becoming. Because you're not really trying to put the resources in place to take care of these kids. I saw the day where in Savannah where they made a $1.2 million SPLOS donation to a park on the south side. They putting $17 million to redo the bricks on Broughton Street, but they can't put that $20 million that they just spent there into saving some lives of some kids. They can't put
It's
that money
sad.
into opening up the gyms at night and paying the athletic directors to be there because they think it's too much for our community. But until
Wow.
we start complaining to on that level where they hear us, because see, right now they don't hear us, and they definitely don't see us because we
Exactly.
aren't loud enough for them to hear. And until
Right.
we start complaining and voting, you got to get that in order. Complaining and voting, you can change things.
And Mr. Hall, can I say, excuse me, Julius, let me just say this one thing, and I know it's time to go. Mr. Hall, you know what? African American, brown people, and black people, we can sit and talk a good game, but just like you said, until you start standing up and raising your voice loud enough and voting and start, and it's, guess what? It's not the people that's in Washington that we need to start. We need to start with the people that's here at home. You understand?
That's right.
Because the that's here at home. And so I just thank you, Mr. Hall, for this opportunity to be on your show. And Miko, thank you for asking me. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I really enjoyed today.
Well,
Thank
we
you
want you
so
to come back and be a regular guest.
Yes, yes.
We'll talk to you. Don't when the show over, don't go off. Just stay
Yes,
right
sir.
there.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
But before you leave, Shabri, what do you want to
Yes.
say in closing?
In closing, that's that's broad. Can you narrow it down a little
I
bit?
mean, into those that are listening, what word would you leave them with?
To the viewers, y'all, if y'all have anyone who is was incarcerated, do not be hard on them. Don't make it tougher than what it already is. Cause I was once that girl.
Yes.
So just don't make it tougher. Just open up and be of help in any way possible. Be open minded, open your heart up, and just pray. And that's all I'm gonna say.
I'm taking you on the road with me, sister. Marie, what would you say in closing?
I would say keep pushing. Don't never give up. If one door closed, another one gonna come open. Don't ever give up. That's one thing I'm not giving up. I've had many no's, but that one yes, I dare you. So don't never give up. Ever, never.
All right. And myself, before I turn it over to you, Julius, I often tell brothers, we may have started out wrong, but we can all finish strong. No matter where you are, whether those of you that are listening on the inside of the jail or the prison, those of you that are riding along in your car, T-Man listening, those of you that are on Facebook or YouTube, somebody in our life has been incarcerated or we have been affected by it in some sort of manner. As the ladies have stated, second chances. We'll all do that. God gave it to us, so we should be able to give it to others. So if there is someone that you know that may have been incarcerated, whether it was 20 years ago or 20 days ago, be an encouragement to them. Pray with them. Give them a helping hand. Tell them where there's a job located at, or involve them in some nonprofit, whatever you can do. We are every week making you aware of the plight of the returning citizen and their families. Well, I hope that you will be intentional about doing the same thing. Tweet, Instagram, Facebook, all that other stuff that's out there. Get the word out. 8011 Waters Avenue, OAA Savannah. We're doing what we can to help returning citizens. Also, Julius, turn it back over to you.
And I'm going to say to the family, friends, and support systems that are out there for returning citizens. I piggyback on what each one of you said. Everybody at some point in their life needs help.
Yes.
And you have to be compassionate enough to understand that if you're in a position to help somebody, give that help, no matter what it is, if you're in a position to do it. You know, to those that are returning, I will say this. You have to be in touch with the God that is in you. You have to be able to say that I'm going to speak to God openly, that I'm going to let him work what he has for me inside me, that I'm going to finally be obedient to what God is saying to me. And it takes a while, believe me, because you want to have fun. You want to go out there and be with your partners and party and do all this. But at some point in your life, you have to slow down, or God will slow you down. So and then you have to be obedient to when you finally hear that word again and God gives you that chance. Because sometimes he just spare you with mercy. But when he gives you grace, when he gives you that grace, oh boy, when I tell you, when he gives you grace, then you'll realize that you have a mission that you have to accomplish, and it's bigger than what you are. So that's just my parting words, to be obedient to what the word is telling you. It is to be obedient.
Ladies, thank you. Thank you, ladies. Again, like Julia said, next week we got some more ladies coming on. I see Anthony Moore, Keith, Miss Arfton, those of you that have joined us and watched us as well. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Julius. And we will be back Friday again. Ink, I like that. Ink to ink. Incarceration to incorporation.
Okay. And we'll see y'all later. Crystal, you can take us out.
And stuff. Bye.